Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, all glory, and honor to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Next, double honors to the elders, the bishops, and the apostles of the great millstone who taught me this truth. Peace, salutations to all the sincere Akim out there pushing this gospel for the four corners of the earth. And a sincere Shalom to the hopeful elect. My name is Itazawam. I'm back again with another quick epistle to the spirit and power of YAHAWASHI. And I hope that you've been edified by the time this lesson is concluded. And this is just going to be a very brief epistle because, standing on my watch and bringing out the gospel, the good news, giving the people the warning, blowing the trumpet, Congress, United States Congress, just passed the Genius Act. It just passed. And just a quick little excerpt. I'm just going to say the House voted overwhelmingly on Thursday to pass the first ever major legislative overhaul of cryptocurrency regulations, sending a bill that will create new rules for so-called stable coins to the president's desk and delivering crypto companies a historic lobbying victory. House lawmakers voted 308 to 122 to adopt the Senate-passed Genius Act, with more than 100 Democrats, including Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, joining most Republicans to approve a measure that is poised to help legitimize digital assets as mainstream financial products. And these are things that we have to be on our watch, occupying, because Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI told us all these things will happen. And you see, we are the watchmen of the house of Israel, so that we have to keep our heads on a swivel, paying attention, and giving the people the warning, because it is important. What good is a watchman that falls asleep? What good is a guard dog that falls asleep? This is the book of Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse 17. It says, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth and give them warning for me. Because it tells you perfectly, Israelites are very stiff-necked, they're very stubborn. And this kind of stuff, it doesn't excite them, because it's not the world star hip hop or all the sports or the Grammy Awards or whatever Jake likes, but this is the will of the Heavenly Father. This is the spirit of prophecy. We prophesy to prophesy to say it before. This is the book of Revelation chapter 19 and verse 10. It says, and I fell at his feet to worship him. This is the account where the angel visited Apostle John while he was in prison on the Greek island of Patmos. The angel visited him. He says, and the Apostle John fell at the angel's feet to worship him. He says, and I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren. See, he said, don't do that. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren, kinsmen, that have the testimony of YAHAWASHI. Worship Yahweh, for the testimony of YAHAWASHI is the spirit of prophecy. And this is why we prophesy, So let's get into this article here. I'm just going to read one or two articles, and then I'm going to show a brief portion of a video, and we'll call it a day, But this here says, this is from a website called Bookings, and it's dated August 25th, 2021, but it's very relevant just today, because what these people like to do, it says cash will soon be obsolete and will America be ready? And what these people like to do is something called gradualism. And I pulled up the definition here just to edify the flock, because this is all their tricks and their snares. Gradualism, a policy of gradual reform rather than sudden change or revolution. So they're making you sensitized to it. They're basically making you accustomed to it, getting used to it. So they're not gonna do it one thing for a shock to the body. It's like getting into some water that is the water is it's let's call it warm water. You get into some water, it's comfortable to the body, and then they slowly raise the temperature up or slowly decrease the temperature. Eventually your body is going to get adapt and used to it because it's a slow, methodical, carefully sought out process. So basically a policy of gradual reform rather than sudden change or revolution. See, that's what they're trying to do, get people accustomed to it. Let's get back to this article here. Don't take my clothes. Oh, sorry, Salaki. All right. It says cash will soon be obsolete. Will America be ready? And this is all part of, ties into this lesson here, because part of this whole Genius Act, you will see how this will affect people's physical cash, which is really, at the end of the day, it is fake gold. It is fool's gold. It is fiat currency. It is paper. It really has no value. And this is why a lot of people so many people have lost their lives over the dollar bill. So many people had off themselves because their investments had plummeted, so to speak. And this is another thing with all these stock markets and cryptocurrencies and digital currencies. It is not real. It is a farce. It is a psyop. It is a trick. Because 1 minute you see your portfolio, the numbers are high. Next minute you see they're low. Next minute it's stable. Next minute it's up. It's very volatile. And a lot of people panic because some people take their hard-earned money and go into these I'm not saying don't, whatever you choose to do, that's on you. This is no financial advice, whatever you choose to do. But I'm just telling you, don't put your stock on these uncertain riches. These are all these things that it says in the book of Peter, 2 Peter, the element shall melt with fervent heat. So all these things will be dissolved. All these things will be destroyed. So everything's going digital for a reason. You see, there's many from the elder apostles all the way down. Many brothers of the great millstone on the like-minded camps have numerous videos online breaking down the MOTB, Revelation 13, 16, and 17. So this is very prophetic, because in the next video I'm about to play, I don't want to ruin it for you, but the next video I'm about to play, they're going to touch on it briefly. All right, it says, when was the last time you made a payment with dollar bills? And that's a very good question. When was the last time whatever you choose to, however style of banking you do, whether you went into the bank and used your tendered cash, or when was the last time you've done that? As a matter of fact, I'm going to date myself here, but when was the last time you wrote a physical letter? Everything is electronic, going digital for a reason. Some is going to say for convenience, but it's all part of the gradualism. Because when they come in with the new system, in order to play ball, you're going to have to convert to that new system by taking that CHIP, as it says in the right hand or the forehead. It says some people will prefer to use cash. Remember, there's a saying in the world, cash is king. Some people will prefer to use cash. Perhaps they like the tactile nature of the physical currency, or because it provides confidentiality in transaction. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people say cash is king too, because there's certain businesses that will allow people to pay in cash and don't pay the taxes, so on and so forth. But Uncle Sam, Big Brother, wants his money. That's another reason why they want to go to a cashless society, because they are more in tune and they can track every single transaction, the time it was, the terminal we use. They can use it's like a track and trace basically. Some people prefer to use cash, perhaps because they like the tactile nature of physical currency, or because it provides confidentiality in transaction. But digital payments made with the swipe of a card or a few taps on a cell phone are fast becoming the norm. And that's part of the whole, it's like a serpent A serpent, when it's waiting on its laying on its prey, sometimes it will just stay there so calmly, camouflage itself within the bushes or whatever terrain it is. And every once in a while, you'll see maybe just like might see the forked tongue just coming out, slowly. But when the prey comes, when that prey strike, it doesn't know what is coming. So these people are likened unto serpents. As it says in the book of Genesis, the serpent is more subtle than any beast in the field. They're very slick. Everything that they do is all about to trap people, entrapments. You see, it says to keep their money relevant, many central banks are experimenting with digital versions of their currencies. And that's another thing. And who owns the central banks? Amalek. And they know the Bible too. So they know the prophecies. They know these things. In order to tell a lie or push a lie, you have to know the truth. But the scripture says there's no lie is of the truth. We're giving it to you 100% organic and raw. It says to keep their money relevant, many central banks are experimenting with digital versions of their currencies. These currencies are virtual like Bitcoin. Unlike Bitcoin, there is a private enterprise. They are issued by the state and function much like traditional currencies. The idea is for a central bank to introduce these digital currencies in limited circulation to exist alongside cash as just another monetary option, and then to broaden their circulation over time. They're gaining popularity and cash fades away. There was that CEO about 2 years ago. Can't remember the app he had is one of those cash apps things, and they, I say they because he was Merck, and I don't believe they found. Maybe I could be wrong. I think they said it was linked to the brother-in-law or something like that. But anyhow, he was deleted, and then shortly thereafter, the government came up with this new thing called Fed now. So they want to control it all. They don't want other people to have any private type of coins or whatever. They want to have everything to themselves. See, I remember just shortly after the Vanessa shot around 2020, I went to when the stores were open up again, I went to purchase an element for my stove, and the guy says, "Oh, we don't take cash anymore," and I said, "Why?" He says, "Because of the if you can read between the line, the jab time, that thing that everybody was up in arms over, but cash today is still a legal tender currency, and they can't refuse cash because they haven't made it mandatory where everything has gone digital. But these are the roads that it's leading to. All roads lead to the MOTB eventually. You see, it says, let's see, China, Japan, and Sweden have begun trials of central bank digital currency. And this is why it says, and it causeth all, both rich and small, free and poor, to receive a mark in their fort. Let me just bring it up really good. I don't want to butcher it. Because you see, all these countries are in on it. See, this is all part of this should come on the whole world, right? Let me see, 1 second. Let me see, because, let me see. This is the book of, all right, yeah, this is the book of Revelation chapter 3 and verse 10 first, because it's interesting that you see China, Japan. In Japan, a few years ago, they have fully robot automated restaurants. They were talking about that, at least I heard about at least 10 years ago. No humans, fully. So when everything goes digital and everything that chip is implemented, should I say, is also going to be implanted in people's hands, but it's implemented as the standard. No one will be able to buy or sell or even go to these restaurants, because first of all, robots have no feelings, right? This is Revelation chapter 3 and verse 10. It says, because thou have kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation. I'll also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. See, All of them. So all these countries are in on it. China, Japan, Sweden have began trials of central bank digital currency. The Bank of England and the European Central Bank are preparing their own trials. Bahamas, see, all around. What I read that again, because thou hast kept the word of my patience. Patient means to suffer. I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation. This is the hour of temptation. This will be the hour of temptation, should I say, which shall come upon all the world to try them. It's a trial of your faith, work of patience, that dwell on the earth. It says, has already rolled out world's first official digital currency. I know Jamaica's on this too. It says, the Federal Reserve, by contrast, has largely stayed on the sidelines. This could be just a lost opportunity. The United States developed a digital dollar, not because of what other countries are doing, but because the benefits of a digital currency far outweighs the cost. The benefit is security. See, once again, when they shall say peace and safety, then comes sudden destruction. Cash is vulnerable to loss and theft, a problem for both individuals and businesses. See, these people, they will come with all the lies and all the promote all the ways why they want to push their wickedness, whereas digital currencies are relatively secure. I remember when they were talking about all these bitcoins and pi and all these currencies, they said if you lose your digital ID sign in, you lose all your money. It's locked in. Those are their all uncertain riches. The real wealth is knowledge and wisdom of the scriptures. That is the true wealth. And in a tangible sense, the real wealth is gold and silver and land. Those are the real wealth in this world. In a physical sense, land, gold, resources. People put their stock in these dollars, but it has no value. It says digital currencies will also benefit the poor. See, once again, and the unbanked. It is hard to get credit if you don't have much money, and banks charge fees for low balance accounts, which is also wickedness that can make a prohibitively expensive. But a digital dollar would give you everyone, including the poor, access to a digital payment system for a portal for basic banking services. See, this is how they come with the lying wonders. These people are wicked, huh? They are very deceptive. They're very cruel. They're very wicked, because this is what they do. Let me see. 1 second here. I want to see something here. 1 second here. Give me 1 second. You know what? Let me just go. Let me go to the right. Let me see. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13 and verse 16. It says, and he caused of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or their foreheads. So what did he say? What did this man just said here, or what this article says? It says digital currencies also benefit the poor. See, it says that's why. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor. See, and banks. See, digital currencies also benefit the poor and the unbanked. It is hard to get a credit card if you don't have much money. See all the wickedness. It says, and here's the last point, verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save that he have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. See, because they want everybody to bow down to their digital beast system. You see, it says, but a digital dollar will give everyone, including the poor, access to a digital payment system and a portal for basic banking services. Each individual or household could have a fee-free. See this nonsense. While right now they're charging people all these crazy fees, but they're pushing this as something good, as a fee-free, non-interest bearing account with the Federal Reserve, linked to a cell phone app for making payments. See, this is why all these restaurants and all these things are going digital for a reason. See, it's a trap. It says, let's go to the video I'm going to play. We're already 20 minutes in. All right, let's go. I'm going to play the Copyright Act disclaimer, fair use, fair use. Because it says copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that otherwise might be infringing. Fair use, fair use, fair use. So now this video is owned by the Next News Network. It says breaking. Congress just passed Mark of the Beast infrastructure. And see, now even all the heathens are even talking about this stuff. Revelation 13 happening now. This is going into talking about the Genius Act. Just going to play a little portion of it. Okay, stand by.
Congress just passed something called the Genius Act. Sounds smart, right? That's what they want you to think. While everyone argued about the Epstein files, lawmakers quietly pushed through crypto legislation that could change money forever. Now, Donald Trump supports it. His Treasury Secretary champions it, but Marjorie Taylor Greene voted no. And she's screaming warnings that nobody wants to hear. Steve Bannon says Trump doesn't really know what's in the bill. It promises crypto freedom, but critics say it opens the back door to something far more sinister: total government control of every dollar you spend. Now, they blocked all amendments and they rushed the vote. Now it sits on Trump's desk waiting for his signature. So what you're about to learn could save your financial freedom. So watch closely. Now, if you are suffering from daily aches and pains while watching your financial freedom slip, now, that was the bill.
Sure.
Republicans,
go right to the
109. But this bill, let's just go to the moment, is passed. This is the moment. There's the gavel. All right. Republicans, 196 yays, 9 nays. Democrats, 102 yays and 101 nays. So 298, 119. That was the bill. Now should we go to Marjorie Taylor Greene? She voted no. Let's find out why.
The Genius Act. President Trump wrote an executive order on January 23rd. And specifically on exactly what the Genius Act was about, except they did not include what was in his executive order, which is a ban on a central bank digital currency, which is extremely important. The president feels it's important, and that's why it was in his executive order. And the Senate left that out. And then they sent this over to the House, and Speaker Johnson didn't allow us to do amendments to amend the bill to ban CBDC. And that's a House issue. It's not, I fully support the president. I will vote for the Genius Act when they ban central bank digital currency and the Genius Act. We need to get it right. It's run through and us forced to vote on something when they take away our right for amendments. Yeah. The Genius Act.
Okay, so she voted no because that amendment was not included. And here is the White House press briefing room just a few hours ago, right before the bill passed. Here's Caroline Leavitt confirming Trump is, in fact, against a central bank digital currency and already signed an executive order banning it.
See, these people are very forked tongue, There was once recently Donald Trump was going against, so-called going against the so-called deep state and all these things. But now that he's in power, he's showing his true horns. And all these people, these MAGA supporters, they're going to soon find out really fast. And they're already starting to turn against him because they realize that they've been bamboozled. I pulled up the word genius. It says very clever or ingenious. See, very clever. That word clever sometimes goes into what? Deception, because it is a cunning. It's a cunning way. It says the Genius Act. There's nothing genius about that act. It is genius for the rich and the elite. This is why we always say, labor, not labor in this world, not to be rich. We have enough. We got to thank YAHAWASHI for our daily benefits, our daily bread, our provisions, our food. We can't thank the Lord enough. Some people want to get all these desires of the rich and everything, but that all comes with a price. People don't understand that comes with a price. I know so many people around that want to be rich. They want to be rich. Nope. That's not the way, man. We got to lay up our treasures in the heavens. As the scripture says, because All these people that want to be rich, eventually it's a snare, it's in a trap. This is Proverbs. This is gonna be the NLT. Proverbs chapter 13 and verse 11 says, "Wealth from get rich schemes quickly disappears." I know a lot of times there's all these people with these so-called pyramid schemes and talk about they invest $50 and get back $300 and invest $500 and get back $5,000, all kind of madness. So those are all get rich quick schemes. It says wealth from get rich quick schemes quickly disappears. Wealth from hard work grows over time, But I said the point was to make from these get rich quick schemes. This is what our people like to do. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 13 and verse 7. And we're going to do this in the KJV. The other one was the NLT, New Living Translation. It says Proverbs 13 verse 7. "There is one that maketh himself rich, yet he have nothing." See, people who desire in this world to get these carnal riches, selling their souls. It says, "What profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul?" Selling their souls to make themselves rich, yet have nothing. No soul, no spirit. They're poor in the spirit, but in this carnal sense, they're rich in this world. There is that maketh himself poor, yet have great riches. The ones that are leaving this world behind, essentially giving up this world, just turning from all the lusty desires of this world and turning to YAHAWASHI, to this truth. And that is the great riches, yet have great riches. Everything is upside down here. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 23 and verse 4. And this is in the NLT. It says, "Don't wear yourself out trying to get rich. Be wise enough to know when to quit." And that goes for a lot of things. And even Kenny Rogers have a song called "The Gambler." You got to know when to hold them, when to fold them, something along those lines. But it says, "Don't wear yourself out trying to get rich. Be wise enough to know when to quit." We have enough. In due time, YAHAWASHI, if riches is our desire, if the Lord's will, the Lord will permit that. But He'll only allow certain brothers or certain people to become rich so that they can help others. Some people have lots and they give away, give alms and do different things and help the brothers out. And that's what we're supposed to do. Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 2, starting at verse 6. It says, "The Lord killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up." So He has all the power to make rich or make poor. As it says here, the Lord maketh poor and maketh rich. See, the Lord maketh poor and maketh rich. It's all in the Lord's hand. "And bringeth low and lifteth up." So in due time, if it's meant to be, YAHAWASHI will raise you up. See, He raised up the poor. Oh, here we go. YAHAWASHI. He raised up the poor out of the dust and lifted up the beggar from the dunghill, to set them up among princes and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and He have set the world upon them. See that? The Lord's in control of it all. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 18, starting at verse 10. "This is why we trust in YAHAWASHI. The name of the Lord, Yahawah, is a strong tower, and the righteous run unto it and is safe." So this is where the just shall live by his faith. The name of the Lord, Yahawah, BAHASHAM YAHWASHI, is a strong tower. The righteous runneth unto it and is safe. See, the rich man's wealth is a strong city, as an high wall in his own conceit, because that's where they put their trust, in their carnal riches. But I just want to bring out something really quick through the spirit and power of YAHAWASHI. I hope that you've been edified. Till the next time, I say Tawada, Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Tawada, tawada, tawada. Amen.